Good afternoon to everyone. Myself, I am Surya Narayana, working as an assistant professor in DBSIT Kavali. Today, the presentation on finite element method subject. I am going to explain about chapter 2 in finite element method, which is splitted into 4 parts. One is bar, second one is truss, and third one is beam, fourth one is frame. First of all, we have to see what are the differences between bar element to beam element to frame and truss element. Okay, coming to first of all bar. Bar is a one-dimensional element. In this bar element, the loads are subjected into only axial direction only. Coming to beam element, in this transverse loads are applied in beam elements. Next, coming to frame element, combination of both loads like axial and transverse loads. Coming to bar element, the stiffness matrix for bar element is, we already know that the stiffness matrix is denoted by using the parameter K. K equal to area into Young's modulus by length into 1 minus 1 minus 1, 1. Next, coming to beam, it is modified like K equal to Young's modulus into moment of inertia divided by length cube. 3 times of length. That means EI by L cube, 12 6L minus 12 6L, 6L 4L square minus 6L 2L square minus 12 minus 6L 12 minus 6L 6L 2L square minus 6L 4L square. In this, coming to frame, the stiffness matrix K is obtained by finding out the stiffness matrix. First of all, we have to find out the stiffness matrix for bar element, and then it is summing with the stiffness matrix for beam element. Next, the bar elements are used in model cables and prismatic structural members. Okay, bar elements are joined by using welded parts. Okay, bar elements are obtained by joining two bars by welding criteria. Coming to beam elements, okay, beam elements are used in buildings. Bridges. Okay, beam elements are used in buildings, bridges, and shops, and some more examples for beam elements. Okay, we already seen that beam elements are used for bridges, okay, household purposes, etc. Next, coming to frame elements, many civil engineering structures like buildings and bridges consist of frames. Okay, these are the differences between bar element and beam element, frame element. And one more remaining, that is truss element. In truss elements, trusses are subjected to, okay, not subjected to axial load or transverse loads. Coming to trusses, the loads are applied in truss members like compression loads or tension loads. That means pulling or pushing. In trusses, the loads are applied in compression or tension. Compression means pushing, tension means pulling. Okay. And what are the differences between bar element to truss element? Like that, in bar element, those are subjected to axial loads, but in truss elements, those are subjected to compression loads or tension loads. Next, coming to bar element, these are joined by using welded phenomena or welding process, but truss elements are joined by using pin joints. Okay, pin joint. Bar elements are used for model cables and truss elements are used for bridges, structures, etc. These are the differences, basic differences between bar element, beam element, frame element, and truss element. First of all, I'm going to discuss about the stiffness matrix and load vector and next traction load vector, body force vector for the one-dimensional bar element, and one more problem on bar element, non-uniform bar element. First of all, we already know that the general finite element equation using direct approach. Okay, pi is indication for potential energy. Phi t is nothing but the total potential energy. In this, it includes the body force vector and traction vector and summing of all forces like point loads, body loads, etc. In this, half integral in terms of volume, sigma power t, sigma is stress vector and E dV. E is the strain vector, dV is the derivative of volume V. Here, derivative of volume V is nothing but area into small particle distance, that is dx. Next, in terms of again minus integral V u transpose f dV. It is the body force vector. Okay, the total potential energy is equation is split into four parts. One is stress strain vector and body force vector. Next, third one traction vector, and final one is the point loads and another loads. Third one is the in terms of integral L u transpose t dt. Okay, T is the traction. Traction is nothing but distributed load. Traction is nothing but distributed force per unit area. Sigma E ui transpose. U is the strain energy of the system. Pa is the point loads. Next, coming to deriving the element stiffness matrix for particular element Ke. Ke is deriving the element stiffness matrix for one-dimensional bar element. First of all, we already know that the strain energy equation, total strain energy, U equal to, for all the terms I am including the E, U suffix E, nothing but for element. Okay. In that derivation, stiffness matrix is given, then it is only U. But I am including element stiffness matrix here. For that reason, I am including UE, U suffix E, that equal to half integral in terms of V sigma power T E dV. We already know that sigma that equal to E into B into Q. E is the strain vector and B is the strain displacement matrix. Next, Q is the unknown nodal displacement vector. Next, E equal to BQ. This is similar to sigma. In this, the values of sigma and E, EBQ and BQ is substituted in the above equation. We will get EBQ power transpose. In the place of E, I am substituting value BQ into in terms of dV. Okay, in terms of dV, nothing but derivative of volume V. It is all about, I am discussing about only one equilibrium body or free space diagram. dV is nothing but area into small distance, that is dx, A dx. After all substitutions, you will get half Q power T taken as common. The remaining terms are E and then A. Next, B transpose and B. Dx will be integrated by using the limits x1 to x2 dx. The remaining will be Q returned in RHS side. Next, where after applying the limits to dx at a small distance x1 to x2, then applying limits b equal to 1 by x2 minus x1 minus 1 to 1. Then that equal to x2 minus x1, those are limits that is applicable for length. It is a small distance. Dx is nothing but small distance which is applied in a body x1 to x2. That is directly related to length. 1 by x2 minus x1, that is length, 1 by LE minus 1, 1. Then I'm transporting like 1 by LE, B transpose, that equal to 1 by LE, converting the rows into columns, minus 1 and 1. Next, multiplication B transpose with B, and you will get 1 by LE minus 1, 1, and then the remaining will be 1 by LE minus 1 to 1. Then you will get 1 by LE and 1 by LE, that equal to 1 by LE square, minus 1, 1, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1 into minus 1, minus 1, 1 into 1, plus 1. Then the limits x1 to x2 dx, that equal to, after applying the limits x2 and x1 to dx, you will get x2 minus x1, that equal to LE. Previously I was told you x2 minus x1, that equal to, it is a small distance. So for that reason, I'm taking it is directly as length. x2 minus x1, that equal to length, LE. Then U strain energy equal to half into Q transpose. Okay, in previous equation, half into Q transpose EA B transpose B integral x1 to x2 dxq. In place of AE 1 by, okay, instead of B transpose into B, we are substituting the value of 1 by LE square, 1 minus 1 minus 1 and 1 in the previous equation. That means this equation. In that equation, I am substituting the value of B transpose into B, that is 1 by LE square minus 1 minus 1 minus 1, 1. After that, you will get 1 by 2 Q transpose KE. Okay, we already know that K equal to area into Young's modulus divided by length, 1 minus 1 minus 1, 1. So after that, the total term, which is AE by L, 1 minus 1 minus 1, 1, which is written like Q transpose K for particular element KE, and the remaining will be Q. Okay, K global stiffness matrix, that equal to summing of all stiffness matrices. Like for element 1, if in the problem they are given 3 elements, the stiffness matrix is finded for only 3 elements. In the problem they will given 2 elements, then the stiffness matrix will be only for 2 elements. Okay, that is based on the global stiffness matrix is based on, we are obtaining the stiffness matrix values from the given problem, that is the elements based on types of element and size of element. Sigma E K E UE, that equal to half Q transpose KE Q. Next, coming to derive the element body load vector. In the generalized FEM equation, total potential energy U transpose F dV, it is the body load vector. Body load vector FE, force vector or body load vector. Considering the second term in total potential energy equation, in terms of V, U transpose F dV. Strain energy, U is the strain energy, F is the force vector in terms of volume V. Then U equal to NQ. We already know that N is the shape function, Q is the unknown nodal displacement or unknown load vector. U equal to NQ. NQ transpose F dV is that equal to A into area into small distance dx. Then Q transpose into N transpose FA dx. Next, by taking Q transpose A F as common and integrating only the term N, the shape function N transpose dx, then you will get, after applying the limits 1 to 2, Q transpose A F in brackets integral N1 dx and integral N2 dx. Then Q transpose AEF length L by 2 1 1, then that is LE by 2 is obtained from N1 dx and N2 dx. that is integral n1 dx and integral n2 dx that equal to Le by 2. Okay, for that reason I am writing AEF. Okay, AEF n1 n2 integral n1 dx and n2 d integral n2 dx that is directly equal to Le by 2. By substituting Le by 2 and 1 1 that equal to Fe that equal to FALE by 2 1 1. Q transpose the total term is equal to Fe force vector. That is the second derivation for element body load vector. Next, coming to third one, it is taken from third term in equation of total potential energy pi t integral in terms of L u transpose T dx. T is the traction load, which is the distributed force per unit area with a small distance that equal to u equal to nq. T is the traction load in terms of small distance dx. After then q transpose n transpose and integrating the value of n transpose with dx, then you will get integral n1 dx and integral n2 dx. Then we already discussed that in body load vector integral n1 dx and integral n2 dx in body load vector equal to Le by 2. But coming to traction load vector, it is integral n1 dx and integral n2 dx that is converted like TE traction load for element that is TLE by 2. But in previous body load vector integral n1 dx n2 dx that equal to Le by 2 1 1. But in traction load vector that is the traction which is traction T into length Le for particular element divided by 2 into 1 1. After that you will get the equation Q transpose in terms of integral n1 dx and n2 dx. I will write TLE by 2 1 1 that is TL by 2 T into Le by 2 1 1 that is directly equal to TE. So for that reason I am writing Q transpose into TE. That is the traction load vector. Next, finally, temperature load vector. Okay, temperature. If a temperature gradient exists in the problem, then the temperature load will be AE E naught. E naught will be delta T. Okay, AE E naught. E naught is the strain energy. That means thermal diffusivity into alpha is nothing but thermal diffusivity. Thermal diffusivity into temperature gradient delta T. Then the temperature load vector theta E equal to AE alpha delta T minus 1 1. Okay, then global. Previously we discussed about the global stiffness matrix will be summing of all stiffness matrices sigma Ke. In global load vector, force vector is obtained by summing up or adding up all the forces like forces, traction, temperatures and with point loads. That one is the global load vector. For understanding these all load vectors, I am doing one problem on stiffness matrix. Stepped bar. Stepped bar or non-uniform bar equilibrium equation. We already know that KQ equal to F. That means stiffness matrix multiplied with unknown nodal displacement, you will get, or global displacement vector, you will get global load vector. For that understanding of the vectors like load vector, traction vector and temperature gradients, I am doing one problem on non-uniform bar which is shown here. A stepped bar with two fixed ends. One is Q1 equal to 0. That means one end is fixed and also another end is also fixed. Q1 equal to 0 and Q4 equal to 0. Those are the boundary conditions. Why? Because in the problem, in the given problem, they are already given the cantilever beam, okay, or the stepped bar with two fixed ends. In any problem, they given the fixed ends like those are taken as boundary conditions. In these, three elements are given. One is bronze material, second one is aluminum, third one is steel. And those properties like thermal diffusivities, alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3. Next, areas and Young's modulus, A1, E1, A2, E2, A3, E3. Next, coming to lengths, 800, 600, 400. Temperature gradient will be already given. Delta T equal to 80 degrees Celsius, which is applicable for three materials like bronze, aluminum, and steel. We have to find out the stress strains and stiffness matrix, global stiffness. This problem can be found out by using the steps for solving in finite element equation. General steps used for solving the finite element equation. So I'm using that equations in the problem. First of all, I'm discretizing this given problem into number of nodes. Okay, discretizing is nothing but dividing the structure into number of elements. In the problem, they given three elements. One is bronze, aluminum, and steel. And the connecting lengths like L1 equal to 800, L2 600, L3 400. Next, the unknown nodal displacements and global load vectors are body load vectors Q1 F1, Q2 F2, Q3 F3, and Q4 F4. For any element, after discretization, that will be converted into two nodes. For one element, two nodes are there. Element 1, two nodes, 1 and 2. The point loads which are applied in reversal direction to the original direction. The direction of path or driving is in the right side, but in the problem they given the point load in opposite direction of the travel. 60 kilonewton in second node, at second node, 75 kilonewton in third node. After discretization, you have to write down the connectivity table. Connectivity table is nothing but dividing of the element into number of nodes. Element 1 having two nodes 1 and 2, and element 2 having 2 and 3 nodes, element 3 having 3 and 4. Next, it is the element connectivity table, very important for understanding the criteria. And after that, applying the boundary conditions. I was already told you about boundary conditions. Boundary conditions are nothing but where in the problem they given the fixedants, those are the boundary conditions. In the problem, they given at node 1 and node 4, Q1, Q4 are the zeros. Then the boundary conditions are Q1 that equal to Q4 equal to 0. Coming to element stiffness matrix is denoted by using the parameter K. K equal to AE by L, 1 minus 1 minus 1, 1. Then first of all, I am finding the element stiffness matrix for element 1. I am taking the properties of element 1, that means bronze material, area of the first element, and Young's modulus of the first element, then length. The values I am taking 10 power 5 as common, and the remaining terms will be 2.49 minus 2.49 minus 2.49 and 2.49. For remembering and identification, I am writing the values of indication, the numbers 1, 2 and 1, 2. Okay. These are very usable in summing of global stiffness matrix, that is K equal to K1 plus K2 plus K3 plus K4 and so on. For element stiffness matrix for second element, aluminum, this is also similar to element stiffness matrix for element 1. But the values are changing here. A2, E2 divided by L2. And the values of 1.4 minus 1.4 minus 1.4 and 1.4. The nodes are 2, 3. For element 2, The nodes are 2, 3 and 2, 3. For element 1, 1, 2 and 1, 2. Next, coming to the third element, the nodes are 3, 4, 3, 4. But the values, after changing the values A3, E3 by L3, the values are 3 minus 3 minus 3, 3. So, for that equation, I was completed the discretization process and written the element connectivity table. After then, founding and calculated the element stiffness matrix for 3 elements. After then, summing of global stiffness matrix, that is K equal to K1 plus K2 plus K3. In this, the elements are 3 elements. So I am summing up the values of stiffness matrix K1 plus K2 plus K3. But in this, I am writing, first of all, before going to summing up the global stiffness matrix, you have to write down the values of, that means nodes 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Upper side and besides to that matrix, you have to write down the values 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the nodes. These are very useful for write down or summing up the stiffness matrices K1 plus K2 plus K3. You already know that how to add and how to summing up the already given stiffness matrices. It is 4 by 4 matrix K11, 12, 13, 14, K21, 22, 23, 23, 24, 31, 32, 33, 34, K41, 42, 43, 44. First of all, I have to note down the value of K11. That means in element 1, stiffness matrix will be K1 in node 1 in column and K1 in row. The value is 2.49. K11 is 2.49. Next, coming to K21, K2 and 1. K21 is minus 2.49. Minus 2.49. Next, K3, K1314. Here 1314 combination is not there. So 1314 are zeros. Next, 21, 2, 1 minus 2.49. But in this, the problem is nothing but before writing the K22 value in matrix, global stiffness matrix, 22 is already there in element 1. 22 is 2.49. But another combination of K22 is also there in element stiffness matrix 2. 22, 1.4. So for that, we have to summing up the values of 2.49 plus 1.4. You will get the value of K22 and K23, K24. 24 combination is not there. And coming to 31, 31 is not placed here. 32, 32 is minus 1.4. K 31 is not there. K32. 1.4, 33, 33, 1.4 and another one is 3. 1.4 plus 3 and next minus 3. K41 is not there. 42 also not placed here. 4344 minus 3, 3. After summing up the global stiffness matrix, you will get the final values of 3.89 and 4.4. These are the changes and remaining terms are similar. The K global stiffness matrix that equal to 10 power 5 into the values. Next, before going to write down the loads, temperature, here the temperature gradient and thermal diffusivities are given for all elements. So we already know that the temperature vectors, the formula is theta. If this formula can be used if in the problem the temperature gradient is given, you have to use this formula. Okay, if in the problem the temperature gradient is exists, then you have to use this formula. In the problem, they are not given the temperature gradient, the formula will be changed to length. That equal to AE alpha delta T minus 1 area for a first element, Young's modulus, alpha thermal diffusivity, temperature gradient. So in this also I'm writing the remembering process. In this also I'm writing the nodes 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. In this theta 3, the values are changing for particular elements. If in theta 2, the values are changed like A2, E2, alpha 2, delta T. Delta T is similar for all elements. Okay. Next, coming to write down the point loads. Okay, at node 1, the point load is 0. For understanding and write down the point loads, you have to see the loads. The loads which are acting in this node 1, node 2, node 3, node 4. At node 2, the point load which is acting in reversal direction. So for that reason, I am writing minus 60. At node 3, minus 75. Okay, at node 1, node 4, zeros. Point loads are zeros. At node 2, minus 60. At node 3, minus 75. Okay, they given in the problem kilonewton. I am converting into 10 cube newtons. For finding global load vector, you have to summing of all the forces like body forces, traction forces, temperature vectors with and point loads. With point loads. First of all, F force vector, global load vector or force vector that equal to temperature gradient for the first element 1 minus 3.012 minus 1.54. That means taking out the values of temperature vectors minus 3.012 into 10 power 5. Okay, this value can be taken out minus 3.012 into 10 power 5. At node 2, the point load which is acting minus 60 into 10 cube Newton. Then I'm taking at node 2 3.012 minus 1.54 and minus 0.6 into 10 power 5. Next remaining 1.54 minus 1.12 minus 0.75 into 10 power 5 and the remaining 1.12 into 10 power 5. This is the process for writing and summing of all the load vectors. Here body loads and surface forces are absent. Traction loads are also absent here. Only point loads and temperature gradients are present. Next, after that, F equal to 10 power 5 into the values are minus 3.012, 0.872, minus 0.33, 1.12. These are the nodes 1, 2, 3, 4. After that, we have already know the equation, generalized phi equation KQ equal to F. First of all, I am writing the global stiffness matrix K and after then Q values and then global load vector F. 10 power 5 minus 3.012, 0.872 minus 0.33, 1.12. In this, I am following elimination approach. For elimination approach, the problem two fixed ends here. They are given two fixed ends. For that, I am taking the boundary conditions Q1 that equal to Q4 equal to 0. Then I am cancelling elimination. That means I am eliminating the row 1 and row 4 with respect to column 1 and column 4. The remaining terms are 3.89 minus 1.4 Q2 that equal to 0.872 and minus 1.54 plus 4.4 Q3 that equal to minus 0.33. These are solved by setting in Casios in equation mode into 3 parameters you will get the values of Q2 and Q3, that is 0.223 and minus 0.00415. Then finally, calculation of stresses. In the previous vectors, we are calculating the values of sigma, the stresses. Sigma, already we know that sigma equal to EBQ. E into BQ minus alpha delta T. Then E equal to Young's modulus. B is 1 by x2 minus x1. x2 minus x1 into 1 minus 1 to 1. That is the parameter or equation for B, strain displacement matrix. B equal to 1 by length of first element, 1 by length minus 1, 1. Q is Q1, Q1 0, Q2 0.223, Q3 minus 0.00415, Q4 0. Then I'm taking 1, 2, Q1 1, 2, 0, 0.223. That is, you will get sigma 1 value, stress for element 1 minus 102.366 megapascals. For element 2 and element 3 is similar as like first element stresses. The support reactions, for that I am taking the support reactions of R equal to, we already know that the reactions are equal to stiffness matrix into unknown nodal displacement or global load vector 122 plus 133, that equal to 1, 1. Okay. For first element, I'm taking the reaction that is for nodes 1, 2 and 1, 3. Okay. In this, you have to observe one thing. I'm taking based on the boundary conditions, the force for boundary conditions. Fixed reactions can be calculated by using fixed points, and this problem is based on both ends are fixed, and one is F1, that means node 1 is fixed and node 4. So for that I am calculating the forces for F1 and F4, reactions for R1 and R4. Therefore, the K1 to Q2 value that equal to force vectors F1 and reaction force R1. Then you will get R1 that equal to 245.6 kilonewton, and parallelly 42 Q2 plus 43 Q3 that equal to F4 plus R4. You will get R4. The reaction forces which are fixed in stepped bar or non-uniform channel. R1 that equal to 245.6 kilonewton. R4 that equal to minus 110.8 kilonewton. Okay, thanks for watching. Thank you, students. If you like this video, please subscribe to DBS Talks YouTube channel.